Everyone thinks Chicago is where Midwest money lives. Downtown penthouses, Gold Coast mansions, Lakeshore Drive luxury. That's exactly what they want you to believe. The Midwest's real ultra-wealthy don't actually live in Chicago's glamorous high-rises. They live in 11 specific neighborhoods where entire communities ban Google Street View from entering and where $3 million estates come with generational gatekeeping that makes country club memberships look casual. Subscribe now and let's discover where the Midwest's wealthiest actually choose to live. Highland Park and Deerfield are where successful professionals pay $1.2 million to claim North Shore status without actually being accepted by anyone who lives in the real North Shore in this 32,000 resident area where 90% of households earn over $200,000. And everyone pretends that's the same as Kenilworth's $500,000 average 3 miles north. This is the accessible tier, which is like saying you bought the affordable Ferrari. Sure, $1.2 million gets you into the general geographic area where old money lives, but everyone knows you're in the suburbs that actual North Shore families drive through on their way to actual North Shore destinations. The Metro Rail provides the shortest loop commute, which matters when you're a hedge fund VP, proving to actual hedge fund executives that you belong. Highland Park High School's top ranking attracts tech executives who want their kids networking with old money kids while never quite being invited to old money houses. The Central Avenue Commercial District offers upscale dining and shopping, which sounds like an advantage until you realize having commercial zones is exactly what separates nice suburbs from exclusive enclaves. Here's the tell. When half your neighbors earn over $200,000 and you think that makes you elite, you're not in the real North Shore. You're in the entry-level tier where new money practices being old money, while actual old money watches from Kenilworth and wonders when you'll realize the difference. Leawood is where billionaires discovered they'd rather live in Kansas than pay taxes in this 34,000 resident Kansas City suburb where the $257,000 average household income proves that fiscal patriotism dies the moment your accountant shows you Missouri's tax rate. Multiple billionaires have established primary residences here. And by primary, we mean the place they claim to live for exactly 183 days per year to satisfy residency requirements while spending the other half in their actual homes on the coasts. The Kansas State Advantage saves millions annually in taxes, which apparently justifies telling people at parties that you live in Kansas while your kids attend Manhattan private schools. The Leawood Country Club provides golf prestige that helps billionaires pretend they genuinely enjoy Kansas living, while Mission Road's shopping corridor offers just enough upscale amenities to make tax avoidance feel like a lifestyle choice rather than a spreadsheet decision. Here's the beautiful hypocrisy. These are the same executives who lecture employees about company loyalty and civic duty while personally relocating to Kansas, specifically to avoid funding the states that actually built their fortunes. They'll spend $1.3 million on a house they barely occupy, hire lawyers to document their 183 days of Kansas residency, then complain about government waste while saving 8 figures annually in taxes. Omaha's Dundee and Benson neighborhoods are where Warren Buffett built a $100+ billion fortune while living in the same $652,000 house he bought in 1958 for $31,500, proving that billionaire modesty is just conspicuous consumption with better PR. Buffett's decision to keep Berkshire Hathaway headquartered in Omaha made this city a legitimate wealth hub. Not because Omaha has any natural advantage, but because one stubborn billionaire refused to leave and convinced other billionaires that staying home makes you more authentic than the coastal elites. It's brilliant branding. I'm not like those flashy billionaires in their Manhattan penthouses. I live in Nebraska, where real Americans live. Never mind that he controls more wealth than most countries. The Dundee neighborhood's historic Victorians appeal to agricultural fortunes from legacy farming and livestock dynasties who made billions on commodity futures while maintaining the aesthetic that they're just humble Midwest folks. Multiple Fortune 500 companies headquartered here create executive density that makes Omaha function as a stealth wealth center that nobody outside finance takes seriously. The annual Berkshire Hathaway shareholder meeting transforms Omaha into a temporary billionaire convention where 40,000 investors fly private jets to Nebraska to hear Buffett lecture about frugality from a stage built with his $100 billion fortune. It's performance art, the richest people on earth celebrating not being ostentatious about their wealth. Here's the delicious hypocrisy. Buffett lectures constantly about wealth inequality while living in a house worth less than most luxury cars in his portfolio. The Omaha modesty is the ultimate flex, turning not buying a $50 million estate into a more effective status symbol than actually buying one. Grosse Pointe is where Detroit's automotive fortunes built Lake Street Clare waterfront compounds that remain in the same families for 100+ years, proving that when your great-grandfather invented the mass-produced automobile, your descendants get to pretend the city's economic collapse doesn't affect them personally. The $2.7 million median for waterfront estates sounds expensive until you realize these are 20,000 square foot Italian Renaissance villas and Georgian Revival mansions built when Detroit's industrial fortunes rivaled anything on the coasts. The Dodge Mansion, the 80-acre Deeplands estate, and multiple Ford family compounds aren't houses. They're architectural monuments to an era when Detroit money meant something globally. The gated community status creates the only gated entrance on Detroit's side, ensuring that automotive dynasty wealth remains safely separated from the economic consequences of automotive industry decline. The Edsel and Eleanor Ford House opens seasonally for public tours, allowing regular people to glimpse how automotive fortunes lived, while current residents maintain private estates nearby and pretend their family's business decisions had nothing to do with the city's current state. What makes Grosse Pointe endure, despite Detroit's decline, is the generational family holdings. Properties occupied by the same families for 3 to 4 generations don't get sold just because the surrounding region struggles economically. Old money stays put even when the empire crumbles, which is exactly how dynasties operate, insulated from consequences while claiming generational continuity as virtue. Clayton is where St. Louis old money established their power base in the 1870s and never left, maintaining $1.6 million estates where the $217,000 average household income proves that controlling St. Louis's financial district matters more than actually living in St. Louis proper. Historic old money prestige dating to the 1870s gives Clayton the legitimacy that newer wealth centers lack, which is St. Louis speak for "our families got rich first, so everyone else is just cosplaying wealth." Forest Park proximity provides access to St. Louis's cultural hub, museums, zoo, outdoor recreation, allowing wealthy families to enjoy the city's amenities while living in a separate municipality with better schools and higher property values. The business district integration means Clayton contains St. Louis Financial District, allowing executives to live and work in the same prestigious ZIP code, while never technically entering the city they control economically. Many properties sit on rolling hillsides, creating topography prestige that Clayton residents mention in every conversation about why their suburb is superior. Generational family holdings mean families occupy the same properties for generations, creating continuity that old money values and stagnation that everyone else calls resistance to change. Architectural preservation standards ensure even new construction maintains historic aesthetics, because apparently authenticity requires pretending the last century of architectural innovation didn't happen. Wayzata and Medina are where Twin Cities' old money goes to be seen being wealthy, paying $2.5 million for Lake Minnetonka waterfront estates in this 15,000 resident area, where the $300,000 average household income creates visible wealth culture for families who think North Oak's Google Street View ban is paranoid. Lake Minnetonka's 3,000-acre footprint provides waterfront access and yacht club culture for Midwest families who desperately want their boating to feel as legitimate as coastal yachting. The Wealthiest Yacht Club provides members-only exclusivity for people whose boats have never touched saltwater and whose yachting mostly involves summer afternoon drinks at the club dock. What separates Wealthiest and Medina from North Oaks is the visibility. These communities actually allow Google Street View because their residents want people to know they're wealthy. This is old money that needs validation culture, where discretion matters less than ensuring everyone knows you have a Lake Minnetonka address. Equestrian culture with riding trails and private stables appeals to families whose recreational activities require acreage and horses, because apparently normal hobbies are for people without family compounds. The summer home tradition creates seasonal culture where lake access signals status, meaning wealthy families maintain these as second or third homes while pretending they genuinely prefer Minnesota summers to traveling literally anywhere else. Subscribe because the top 5 aren't just expensive, they're where the most expensive Illinois zip code creates wealth concentration that makes Chicago look middle class. Birmingham is where Detroit's younger wealthy professionals pay $1.3 million to avoid Grosse Pointe's generational gatekeeping. In this 20,000 resident enclave, where the $240,000 average household income creates new money that's tired of old money judging them, culture. The highest dollar per square foot pricing in Detroit Metro means Birmingham commands premium pricing despite lower median prices than Grosse Pointe. You're paying more per square foot for less house because you want contemporary architecture instead of Victorian gilt. The walkable downtown creates urban amenity access that pure residential enclaves lack, though whether having restaurants nearby makes you less elite is a debate conducted through passive-aggressive comments at charity galas. Contemporary architecture from the 1980s to present appeals to tech executives and entrepreneurs who think Victorian mansions are for people obsessed with lineage rather than achievement. The mix of historic and modern homes on 0.5 to 2 acres allows architectural variety that strict preservation boards prevent elsewhere, which Birmingham residents frame as diversity and Grosse Pointe residents frame as lack of standards. What makes Birmingham notable is the contemporary prestige factor. It's where successful people who earned their wealth establish bases while creating new money that's comfortable being new money, culture that separates them from old money's generational gatekeeping and everyone else's economic reality. Lake Forest is where Chicago's founding families built Gilded Age estates in 1857 that remain architectural landmarks today. In this 10,000-resident North Shore enclave where the $302,000 average household income and Historic Preservation Society turned protecting architectural heritage into preventing any changes that might acknowledge the 21st century exists. Founded in 1857 as Chicago's first planned suburb exclusively for wealthy families, Lake Forest contains America's finest Gilded Age estates, where demolition is literally prohibited by landmark status. These aren't just houses, they're historical monuments where even billionaires must preserve rather than rebuild, which sounds like cultural stewardship until you realize it's just rich people forcing other rich people to maintain their aesthetic preferences. The Lake Forest Club offers one of America's most exclusive private club memberships inherited generationally, because apparently your grandfather's golf handicap matters more than your actual ability to play. Lake Forest Academy and St. Andrews private schools educate children in environments where inherited wealth is the norm, creating generations of kids who think trust funds are standard financial planning. The Historic Preservation Board enforces strict architectural standards preventing modern construction, meaning even if you have $50 million, you cannot build a contemporary house, because Lake Forest decided in 1857 what houses should look like forever. That's architectural preservation mattering more than property rights, which is exactly how old money operates. Glencoe is Chicago's North Shore emerging ultra-wealthy destination, where the $2 million median and 50% plus appreciation over the past decade prove that successful tech executives view real estate as investment-grade assets in this 8,800 resident enclave, where the $416,000 average household income and zip code number 2, most expensive in Illinois, create earned wealth buying into old money territory culture. The 50% plus appreciation over 10 years is faster than Kenilworth or Winnetka, indicating wealthy families are actively choosing Glencoe and driving demand that outpaces even the most established North Shore enclaves. This attracts professionals who view their $2 million home purchase as an investment that will appreciate faster than their stock portfolios, which is exactly the financial optimization that old money finds vulgar but can't argue with when their own property values increase because of it. Lake Michigan beach access and Glencoe Harbor yacht mooring create maritime infrastructure, while ravine access provides scenic beauty that appeals to families who think flat suburban lots are for people without taste. New Trier High School access provides education prestige without paying Kenilworth prices. What separates Glencoe from Kenilworth is the demographic: younger, wealthy professionals rather than generational families, creating earned wealth culture less obsessed with pedigree and more focused on current achievement. The 50% appreciation rate proves the market agrees this is where smart money is moving, which is cold comfort to Kenilworth residents who preferred when the North Shore was about lineage rather than investment returns. Kenilworth is officially Illinois' most expensive zip code, where the $3 million median and $460,000 average household income create the ultimate North Shore wealth concentration. In this tiny 2,500 resident enclave, where 71% of households earn over $200,000 annually, and where buying a $3 million house doesn't actually grant you social acceptance from people whose families built their houses in 1889. Developed in 1889 as an exclusive planned community, Kenilworth established estate-only zoning preventing subdivision. Minimum lot sizes of 1+ acres mean you literally cannot build small homes here even if you wanted to, which you wouldn't because wanting to signals you don't understand the point of Kenilworth. The 71% of households earning over $200,000 represents Illinois' highest income concentration, creating a community where nearly 3/4 of neighbors clear $200,000 annually and still lecture about income inequality from their $3 million estates. Private Lake Michigan beach access provides exclusive waterfront that money alone can't buy elsewhere, though apparently $3 million plus generational connections can buy it just fine. Championship golf courses with private memberships ensure recreational activities remain gate-kept, while country clubs with generational memberships mean your application requires letters from people whose families knew your family, when both families actually mattered. What makes Kenilworth #1 on the North Shore is the extreme income concentration combined with smallest population. Only 2,500 residents means everyone knows everyone, and new families face scrutiny that makes country club applications look casual. Generational gatekeeping ensures families rarely sell properties passed to heirs, creating ultimate scarcity where inventory is controlled by inheritance rather than market forces. The hypocrisy is spectacular. Residents lecture about income inequality from $3 million estates, while living where 71% of households earn over $200,000, proving that Midwest wealth concentrates just as severely as coastal elites. They're just quieter about it and better at pretending their advantages are earned through character rather than inherited through birth. North Oaks is where America's ultra-wealthy discovered they could literally ban Google from photographing their streets. In this 4,000-resident Minneapolis suburb, where the $300,000 average household income and dual-gate security system prove that when you're rich enough, you can opt out of the internet itself. The Google Street View ban isn't a myth. North Oaks is the only neighborhood in America that successfully lobbied to keep Google's cameras out. While the rest of humanity accepts that their houses are visible online, North Oaks residents got so bothered by online visibility that they hired lawyers to ban photography of public streets. That's not privacy. That's pathological fear of being perceived by regular people. The dual-gate security system with vehicle checkpoints ensures you literally cannot enter without resident authorization. No through traffic, no curious drivers, no food delivery unless pre-approved. It's fortress-level paranoia disguised as privacy preference, creating a neighborhood so secretive that even other billionaires think it's excessive. Developed in the 1950s for Minneapolis's ultra-wealthy North Oaks, features 2 to 5 acre lots that dwarf even Kenilworth's 1 acre minimums, because apparently anything under 2 acres means you can see your neighbors, and that's basically communal living. Properties range from 8,000 to 20,000 plus square feet. The 40% protected open space creates natural screening for people who think their neighbors seeing them is a human rights violation. Here's what makes this number one. It's not just expensive, it's institutionally paranoid. Residents vote on all property changes, meaning your neighbors control what you can do with your $2.5 million property. The Architectural Review Board has enforcement power that makes HOAS look permissive. Low inventory turnover means homes rarely list, and when they do, buyers must pass screening that makes Pentagon security clearances look casual. The neighborhood so secretive Google isn't allowed inside isn't marketing. It's a literal description of people so wealthy they successfully banned internet photography of public streets. That's not old money discretion, that's new money paranoia, with old money legal budgets, proving that when you're wealthy enough, you can make the internet pretend you don't exist. And apparently $2.5 million on 2 to 5 acres is what it costs to never be seen by anyone you didn't personally approve. The Midwest's true ultra-wealthy have moved beyond Chicago's downtown penthouses, but these aren't just expensive suburbs. They're institutional gatekeeping systems designed to concentrate generational wealth, enforce privacy through legal restrictions, and maintain old money aesthetics that separate inherited fortunes from earned success. The pattern is clear. Real Midwest wealth isn't announcing itself through downtown high-rises anymore. They're building estate-scale compounds on 2 to 5 acre lots, banning Google from photographing their streets, and creating scarcity through zoning laws that make density literally illegal. That's not a real estate market, that's generational wealth preservation disguised as suburban living, and apparently it's worth every penny of those $3 million North Shore estates. Hit subscribe for more truth about where America's wealthy actually live, and drop a comment telling us which Midwest enclave surprised you most. Until next time, keep your standards high and your real estate knowledge even higher.